This is chapter number 6, Towns, Traders and Craftspersons. So we talked about Hampi last time. Now we are discussing about Surat. Surat. This is the place we are talking about. I'm talking about Indian subcontinent, the west side or the west coastal area, Paschimi Ghat or Paschimi Tat Rekha, western coast, and this was a very important city right now also. And this Surat is in Gujarat, where it is in the state Gujarat right now. And this was called as Emporium. Why it was called as Emporium? This is a place where everything, diverse type of things are produced and are being sold. So if you go to electric shop, you'll get only electric items. But Emporium, you get everything. Same is true with Surat. So buying and selling can be done in this place, Surat, Gujarat, in Gujarat. So if I tell you why it is so important, first of all, the western part of the world means this is a khadi, this is a Khambat ki khadi or Cambay, the Gulf of Cambay, and this is a port city. Please remember, previously we talked about temple city. This is a port city because it's a port. As I told you that Vijayanagar, Hampi was a temple city. So this Ahmedabad also, along with this Surat, these were very important cities at that time, and they were gateways. They were the gateways, and especially the Surat was gateway for all these parts. Just imagine India. After that we have Pakistan, Afghanistan, then we have Iran. So if you see there is a Gulf, UAE and Oman also you are able to see. This is called the Strait of Hormuz. This is Gulf of Hormuz. So there was a proper trade going on. Okay. So it's West Asia, of course, via the Gulf of Hormuz, and there are different places also where this trade was going on. So this Iran, UAE, Oman, Afghanistan, Pakistan. So one more thing was Saudi Arab is here only, and Makkah Medina is also here. So the Indian Muslims who were going for the Hajj, they take ship or they sail from this place only, where Surat. That is why it was called as Gate of Makkah, Gate to Makkah also. Okay. So the pilgrimage, this was a point from where the pilgrims go and come. And this is a cosmopolitan city. Now you talk about Delhi or Mumbai, they are called as cosmopolitan. Why they are cosmopolitan? Because here everyone is living. Every caste, every creed, every religion, rich, poor, everyone is here of different nationalities. Cosmopolitan. So when I talk about that era, 17th century I am talking about. So who were there? They were Portuguese. They were Dutch, Holland, Netherlands, they are same. They were English, and all these have factories. And whenever there is a factory, there will be warehouses. So they will have factories and warehouses at Surat. All these Portuguese, Dutch and English. So remember these three country name, because they are going to come again and again. So they were having factories and warehouses. That all points to the trade. So this man which I am showing is called, basically he is a English chronicler. Chronicler means in chronology, the people who write in chronology the events, different events. So he was a chronicler, Englishman, English chronicler, and his name is Ovington. What is his name? His name is Ovington, and this person has given the account of Surat. He told that in 1689, So all these, the port around that, lot of ships, 100, more than 100 ships were there. 100 or more ships were anchored there, standing there. Okay, can you imagine? 100 at that time, at 16th century we are talking about, the 17th century. So anchorage, more than 100 ships were anchored there. And retail and wholesale shops are there, lot many. From where you take a very, very huge number of product is the retail is which is near your house. But from where the most of the stuff is made and being sold, it's called wholesale. So what? Cotton textiles. These retails and wholesale shops were of cotton textiles. Cotton textiles. Kapde ke liye we were very famous. So cotton textiles, right? And why it was famous? Because it has a special gold lace border. The textile will have a very glowing gold colored or gold lace border, zari ka kaam, and it has great market in West Asia, Africa, Europe. That means this was so famous in this West Asia, Africa, Europe. I'm just showing you that. Just imagine that this part of the world, and West Asia we have this, Europe, all these have requirement for the zari. And Surat was filled with rest houses, hotels, because people were coming from different nationalities and trading. So everything was there. So I'll tell you two names. Kathiawar Seths. Kathiawar Seth means people who have money, who can lend money. So Kathiawar Seths and Mahajans. Mahajan also are the same thing. Means they were a different caste, but they were also the rich people who can lend money. So they were Kathiawar Seths and Mahajans. They were changing the money. Right now, you come to India, you change dollar to Indian rupees, and same way you go outside, you change things, money to dollars. Same thing, money changing was going on. And who were doing? Kathiawar Seths and Mahajan. Basically, they were doing banking. It was so respectable city, Hundi. It was famous. And what is this Hundi? If you go anywhere, mostly I'll tell you the places. These Hundis were honored. And this was like a traveler check. That is, if you are going to say Egypt, that is Cairo in Egypt. If you go to Basra in Iraq, if you go to Antwerp in Belgium, Antwerp, diamond carving work is very famous for this Antwerp. So either you go to Cairo, Basra, Antwerp, these Hundis were honored. What does it mean? That is, you are going from Surat, say. Now you have, say, 100 rupees. So is it advisable to take this 100 rupees along with you? No. You pay 100 rupees, you are given a paper, and that paper, that dastaveez, that document is called Hundi. Now you take this Hundi, you go to, say, Cairo or Basra, and then you take this Hundi and show it to those people, and it's so famous and honored. They know that it has come from Surat. It is no illegality and it's not fake. So they give the money, and 100 rupees you are going to get from there. So you don't have to take money. You just take traveler check. That was Hundis. So Surat, the way Surat began to decline at the end of the 17th century. That is around after 1660, you can say. Now, there were various reasons for this. First of all, Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was also on downfall. That is why market and productivity, it went down. The trade game is all about market and this productivity. So the market, first of all, and the productivity, it went down with the going down of Mughal Empire. And second thing was, the sea, the coastal area or the sea routes were dominated by the Western countries. To name it, Portuguese, right? And I'll tell you one more name, the competition from Bombay. Bombay was there because Surat was facing competition with Bombay. And what is this Bombay? Bombay is the English East India Company's headquarters. They shifted it in 1668 and now it grew, Bombay. So there was a fierce competition from Bombay which Surat was facing. That is how the problem of this productivity and market and Mughal Empire problem are declining, and the Portuguese and the they took over. That is, the sea ports or the coast were all taken up by these Portuguese and English, and fierce competition with the Mumbai, right now Mumbai, Bombay port. So this is date is 1668 when English shifted their headquarters to Bombay. Okay, but the Surat is still a commercial center. It has not declined that much. But this is not true with Musulipatnam. Musulipatnam is, if you go now, it's Jarjar. It's all finished up. It's just like any other city. So I'm talking about Musulipatnam or Machilipatnam. And this Musulipatnam is also called as Machilipatnam. And if you see Machilipatnam, that is Machli means fish, Patnam means port. So this is a town which is a port town of fish. Fish port town. So Machilipatnam actually literally termed as fish port town. And where it is? It's in the delta of Krishna river. This is Krishna river. So it's in the delta of Krishna river. Machilipatnam, Krishna river, delta. You have to remember this. So 17th century, it was a center. A lot of things were going on. Intense activity. I'm talking about the 17th century, right? So why it was being made or understood as a very, very intense activity city? First of all, the Dutch and English, that is both the East Indian companies of Dutch and English, they wanted to control Musulipatnam or Machilipatnam, because on the left coast they already have Bombay, Surat, etc. Now they wanted to cover the eastern port also. For that, what to do? So they wanted to grab the control, and the important port on the right hand side, which you see here, that is the eastern coast, was in the Andhra coast or Andhra Pradesh coast, was Machilipatnam. Okay, Andhra Pradesh, we are talking about AP, and this is the important port on the eastern side at that time, and it was Musulipatnam. This fort is actually being built by whom? Dutch, Netherlands or Holland people. Dutch, right? There is one more thing. William Methwold, he talked about the poor fisher town, and William Methwold, he was a gumashta, he was a factor. Means he was being sent by East India Company. He is one of the employee, you can say, of East India Company. East India Company representative or worker. Means good worker, a good post worker. So he wrote that this city was actually poor. There were ships, there were activities going on, but it was not being built as the Hampi was being built, or even the Surat, So he mentioned everything. Now coming to Golokunda, I'm talking about Golokunda now. So Golokunda, the Shasak or the rulers were called Qutub Shahi rulers. So they did what? They imposed all the because textiles were there, spices were there. They put all the taxes or took the monopoly of selling these textiles, spices, in order to prevent what? The East India Company, because East India Company was growing very, very stronger and they were controlling everything. So they don't wanted that to happen. So they tried to grab the control of all these selling and buying. So there was a competition, fierce competition among various trading groups. First is Golokunda nobles, Persian merchants, then the Chettiars, I told you about Chettiars, Telugu, Komati Chettiars, and then the European traders, all the Dutch and Portuguese and English, French. So there was a fierce battle between them. And this is how this Machilipatnam, Golokunda Golconda became very populous and prosperous. I'm talking about Golconda now. Prosperous and very, very, people, you can see people there at that time. And, a good city, a very nice people, wealthy city. But Mughal, they wanted to grab the power of Golconda. So they sent their representative, Governor Mir Jumla, Mansabdar. Mir Jumla, governor. But Mir Jumla, who was a merchant, he was actually a merchant, Saudagar. But what he did, he created fight between Dutch and English. And what happened eventually when Dutch and English came face to face in 1686, 1687, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, he took over Golconda. He annexed Golconda, right? Now this caused this because Golconda and we just talked about the Machilipatnam. Now the European company thought, oh, we have to go somewhere else. So they had a new policy. What was the policy? They wanted a city. It has to be political, means political work can be done. Administration work also needs to be done. It has to be a commercial city. Trading should also be there. And it has to be a port city also, because entry exit is coming or through the port cities only. So all these they wanted in a single city. That is how right now we have Mahanagars, metropolitans. What are they? Bombay, Mumbai. Then we have Calcutta, that is Kolkata, Madras, which is today's Chennai. Okay, all these cities went up, and Machilipatnam slowly it declined. The merchants and prosperity, they just leave or whatever happened in the course of 18th century. So if you go, it is in Jarjar Avastha, dilapidated, not in a very good shape if you go to Machilipatnam. Now coming to new towns and trades, I'm talking about 16th and 17th century. Means 1500 to 1600, 1600 to 1700. So the European countries, they were doing what? They had a taste of spices and textiles. Indian textiles and spices were worldwide because we have tropical atmosphere, environment, so we get spices. And this was very famous. So the English, the Dutch, the French, they all formed their East India companies. All companies which are trading with us. They wanted to expand or elongate the commercial activities to the east, that is to our subcontinent. Initially, what happened? We had Mullah Abdul Ghaffur. We have Mullah Abdul Ghaffur and Virji Vora, right? So they had ships, not that much, but they had ships. So they posed competition to these all European, which I named, naval companies, or you can say the trading companies. But they had so much of naval fleet power, so many ships with cannons, naval power that much. Neither Ghaffur Saab nor Vora, they couldn't stand them, and finally they only became as agents. All the trades. So finally these Indian traders were just like agents. And all these, European people and companies, finally what emerged? Who emerged? English emerged as the superpower. Though which power? Commercial power as well as the political power. Commercial as well as political power of this Indian subcontinent. Who? English. And we know the rest is history. 200 years they were ruling us, more than. So 200 years. So what happened then? Now, one more thing I would like to tell you, because textile I talked about, because of these textiles, because they were so growing in demand and there was a lot of demand, so people left their other jobs, or you can say more people joined this job of spinning, of weaving, of bleaching, of dyeing. Means all these work which are related to textiles, people mostly they came and tried to do this job. Okay. So, but there was a problem here. Craftsperson. because English came and there was this craftsperson they actually lost their independence, freedom. Why? Because the English people, or you can say these craftsperson, were working for English agent, the company's agent, and British agent or company's agent, and they would take money in advance. That is, the money for the work they take in advance because they need it, they were poor. Now, this money when they get, they have to work only for these agents. Whatever agents say, because they have taken their advance. So whatever they do, they would do it for the agents. Whatever pattern they are being told, they will do it. You have to do this, you have to do this. That means they don't sell, won't sell, they can't sell. Design they cannot sell. Means they are not independent. They just have to work for these company people. Okay. Now there was in 18th century, it was a rise of it. I talked about Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Still they are the metropolitan. So there was a rise of, in 18th century, rise of Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. So those who were the merchants, that is the traders, and the artisans, basically like weavers, bunkar. So what these English people did, they marginalized it, or they put them in just one part of the city, and that part is called Black Town. For example, Muslims and Dalits, right now what we do, we just push them in the corner of the city, right? So the same thing happened with the weavers, like artisans, a general word, and merchants. So this city, small city, in that city is called as Black Town. Black Town. You know Black Town? So there is a picture also, if you see, the Black Town I showed you of Madras, right? And these Gora or Britishers, this is the Black Town I'm showing. These Gora people were living in a very good locality. For example, in Madras, they were living, or they had their house in Fort St. George. If you assume it to be Calcutta, they were having house at Fort St. William. So these were very, good places, lively places, and they had, this is specifically about, I'm talking about the picture. If you see, this is a Bombay street of early 19th century. That is, you can say 1800 and plus. Now let me talk to you about Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus. How these English people knew that we exist? How do they know that they have a sea route? So Vasco da Gama came here in Calicut. Where did he came? Vasco da Gama came to Calicut in 1498. Calicut is in Kerala. So Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, and this is Christopher Columbus. There are two pictures. So the Vasco da Gama, he was a Portuguese, and Christopher Columbus was an Italian. Vasco da Gama is Portuguese and Christopher Columbus Italian. If you just need to remember it. Now I'm talking about Vasco da Gama. So what route he found out? He actually he actually discovered the route. First of all, he's a Portuguese sailor, so he sailed across the Atlantic to the African coast. He went around it, crossing over the Indian Ocean, and he took more than 1 year to do this. And he reached to Calicut in 1498, I told you, in Calicut, and that is in present day Kerala, right? So in 1498 he came. Then it was, very bad journey, because 170 people were coming and only 54 survived. All other died. He came up with started with 4. Only 2 ships remained. All other died. All other, wrecked down. And the rasta, the way, the route he discovered, English, Dutch, French, they followed it only. Okay, English, Dutch, French followed these routes. That is why it is important. Now coming to Christopher Columbus, he said, the earth is round. So now Vasco da Gama has gone this way, I'll go another way, and I'll go another way, and I will definitely reach India. But he started from here and he came to West Indies. He came here, and then the rest is he came, we know about what happened in America, how it was being found, and started with the West Indies. So West Indies, he came and he tried to find out the other way of India, and he discovered this West Indies. So this is all about this chapter. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.